Hi, everyone. We're here
We're queer.
again. Welcome back to Fat People with Opinions. I'm Isaiah.
I'm Taylor. And we're back. We're fat. And we still have fucking opinions.
Yes.
1 year later.
Yes. It's been a while. But we're here. So don't, get too mad.
Not get too mad.
Okay. You get a little mad, enough mad, but don't get too mad. Okay. Because
too mad, bitch.
we're here.
How have you been, friend? It's been a year. It's not been a year since we've talked, but it's been a year since we've talked to y'all.
And recorded. Today I'm doing good. Actually, I'm doing really good today. I feel hopeful. I feel positive. I feel optimistic. Today I feel good.
Well, that's wonderful. I love to hear that.
How are you feeling?
I feel pretty good today. Today has been a wonderful day. It was sunny when I woke up. I had coffee.
It was sunny when I woke up. I had coffee.
I got 2 new plants. That makes me very happy. And I streamed. We've had a very productive day.
Today, same. I went to the gym, went to the barber, shaved, did some grooming stuff. So, we've been productive.
Yes.
Do we want to talk about why it's been a year?
We can. You have insight on that? Because I don't.
I will take full responsibility for why it's been so long since we've recorded. Because Taylor has been like, we have this thing called a podcast, right? Where we're supposed to be recording weekly episodes.
I have been saying this, yes.
This is a thing that we have done and we should be continuing to do. People are asking for these episodes. What's your problem? Why don't you want to record? And I've been like, oh, okay, well, yeah, we can. Yeah, let's do one next week. Next week comes.
This nigga is nowhere to be found.
There's no episodes. I'm like, okay, let's just, it's just, I just need a break. Let's just do a month,
That was in March. A month.
A month passes and I'm like, you know what? I just need a couple months. It's just, it's getting around the time the pandemic is really, taking over everything involving my life. So let's just, take some time. That turned into a year. I mean, honestly, it really was. After a certain amount of time had passed, you get in the habit of not doing something. So you're like having to really push yourself and motivate yourself to kind of step out your comfort zone to do that thing that you were not doing.
That's why I don't go to the gym anymore. Because I stopped going to the gym and now I don't go to the gym anymore.
And you can literally apply it to different aspects of life, because once you stop doing something, like you said, for a considerable amount of time, like going to the gym, it's really hard to get back into the habit of doing it. That's why I was like, today, there are so many thoughts. I was like, let me just cancel, because that's me all the time. I just want to cancel everything, any kind of commitment that I have. I was, you know what? Just half the battle is showing up. Because once I'm here, I'm like, okay, where's the mic?
Right. I even forgot that you were coming today. And I was like, oh, shit. Because I was like working on my stream. And I was like, okay, I'm going to stream at 12. I'm going to stream for like 5 hours. We're going to go to like 5 o'clock. By that time, it'll be dinner time. And then you were like, oh, I'm coming over. I'll see you around 4. And I was like, oh, shit. I forgot that was happening today. I was ready to be like, we don't have to do it today.
Right. Don't say things like that to me. Anyone who is ever interested in dating me or taking me out as a friend, don't give me an out, because I will take said out. Like, don't give me the opportunity to not show up, because I will make it seem like, oh, I'm really sad that this is ending, but also be like, I'm so glad internally that this is happening, because I did not want to leave the house. And that's horrible, and I need to work that out.
Yeah, it's like borderline fuckboy behavior.
Right.
I was called a fuckboy the other day, but by my boyfriend. So we were having a conversation, and I was like, if I ever cheated on you, it would not be emotional. It would be purely physical, because I just don't have the range to be emotional with somebody else right now. I don't have the time, the patience, none of it. And he was like, what did he say? He said something like, so you're going to take me out, you're going to have sex with me and then never talk to me again? You're a fuckboy. And I was like, no. I would talk to you every day. I would give you good morning texts, all of that. I'm just not your man. And he was like, That's some bullshit.
Yeah.
You're a fuckboy. Correct. I don't have the time to be emotional with anybody else. We can be friendly. I can send you good morning texts, okay, but I'm not your girlfriend.
That's just so interesting that, like, to me, that is, like, low-key being emotional, though. But the fact that you can, I mean, I guess anyone can do something repeatedly, and it's, like, no emotion attached to it. Maybe that's what it is. But it's, like, the fact that you are sending, maybe I'm just not used to that quality of interaction with the men that I interact with. So it's like the fact that they're sending you a good morning text every day. It's like, oh my God, you're like so emotionally.
That's what people be thinking. But like, you're just getting a good morning text out of me because I like saying good morning. That's it. Not because I have any interest in you. Not because I actually care that you have a good morning. Just because I like saying it, you know? I mean, maybe I do care that you have a good morning, but it's not because I'm in love with you. It's just because mornings should be good.
Right. I don't know if I agree that that's fuckboy behavior. I mean,
because I think that the idea is that when you get a good morning text, it's like, this person woke up thinking about me. I'm on their mind. When it coming from me, it's not that. It's really not that. It's just I looked at my phone and saw that we had a text thread and said, let me send them a good morning. That's really it.
But as far as cheating is concerned, it only really matters how it feels to the other person.
Yeah,
the other
true.
person, like, who is receiving said text message. Because if it's like they interpret it as you being like extending yourself and being emotionally available in a way that you would be with your significant other, then that's cheating. So, okay, so points have been made about fuckboyness. Okay.
Points have been made
about fuckboyness, but I made a commitment to myself in 2021. I wrote down a list of my goals. I was like, this is something that I care about. And I've been able to commit to going to the gym during this whole pandemic. So I feel like there's no reason that I can't commit to spending time with my friend, talking about shit that we care about and expressing our opinions and growing this thing. So,
because remember that time we were at like a bar or something pre-pandemic and somebody came up to you and was like, I listen to your podcast. Some like random person that we didn't know. Like, imagine people we don't know actually listen to the podcast and then we disappeared for a year.
And like look forward to episodes. Like one of my friends, we had a Zoom call with some old coworkers from when I used to be an RA in college. And we were all on the Zoom call. And one of my really good friends, he was like, yeah, one of the hosts of my favorite podcasts I listen to is on the Zoom call, but they haven't released any content. And I was like, first of all,
drag me.
Have you seen that meme of like Snow White? And it's like all of these, she's like flailing because everything is coming from different directions. That's how I felt. I feel like you are personally attacking me. I'm still on the clock. It's like, it's not 9 o'clock yet. I haven't got off the clock. I'm dealing with these people. And then you're attacking me for, just being a victim in all of this.
You're the victim.
In this pandemic. You don't understand. Girl. So don't do that. But shout out to you, Tyler. This is for you. You deserve.
One of Kay Moody's friends asked when the podcast was coming back too. So like 2 steps away from me, somebody I know's friend said, what's happening with the podcast? When is the next episode? So here you go, CJ. Here's the episode.
This is for all you guys. We're back. We're here. And we're going to be consistent.
Mm-hmm. We're gonna get back to being what were we, a syndicated talk show.
Okay. We were never a syndicated talk show, but we were,
we're on the way.
We really did. I'm like thinking about it, like we really released a decent amount of episodes, considering that
we were releasing episodes at least twice a month. So if not every week,
every other week. Yeah, that's not bad. I'm not mad at that.
I'm not mad at that either.
So
I would like to get to the point where we're at every week, but every other week would not, that would not be
horrible.
Right. But let's not say that, because if I say that out loud, then Isaiah's going to be like, I'm not coming next week.
Girl, that's what I'm saying. Y'all just need to fool me, okay? We're recording this shit every day, bitch.
Right.
Okay?
Every day.
So I can show up and be here every week.
Follow us on all of our social media pages, especially Fat People Pod on Instagram, because I'm going to start posting on that again, I think, maybe. And follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/Taylor Renee. Don't follow me on Instagram because I don't post there anymore.
You're going too fast, bitch. Follow Taylor on Twitch at
twitch.tv
/Taylor
Renee.
Taylor Renee. Do you want to spell that for the people?
It's the same as it's always been, guys. Taylor, Rynai.
Taylor Renee. And you can follow me at the Black Hermione on Instagram.
The Black.
The Black. It's DABLACK. Hermione is HERMIONE.
You can follow me on Twitter also at Taylor Renee, spelled exactly the same way. It's actually Taylor Renee on everything. So if you ever want to find me on a social media, it's Taylor Renee.
Thank you guys for listening, and thank you guys for being patient, and I'm glad that you're tuning in to listen to us. We're back. We're here. We're going to be consistent. We just thought today would be a good time to just kind of do a check-in to see how we're doing, since it has been a considerable amount of time since, me and Taylor have talked on this mic. So we already talked about how you're doing today. How are you doing
in general?
Like, okay, so we're almost how long into the pandemic? Almost a year.
Yeah. I think I've gotten over like my major fears and anxiety with the pandemic, other than being able to pay my bills.
Yeah.
I saw a tweet earlier today of Kamala Harris back in like May of 2020. She tweeted that she had just written up a bill for $2,000 checks, monthly $2,000 checks for everybody. This was back in May 2020. So obviously that has not come to fruition.
Right.
She is now, however, the VP. So I have a little bit of hope that maybe we'll get something, but still it's only a little bit of hope. Because you have to deal with all of those Republican people.
Wait, hold on. I have to pee. Hold on.
Not 10 minutes into the podcast and this man has to pee.
I have to pee. Everyone, leave me alone. I drink a lot of water. We were talking about Kamala Harris and recurring checks.
Yeah, because now that she's the VP, I have some hope. It's very little hope because we have to deal with the Republicans. But we did manage to flip the House, right? So
the Senate.
Right. Senate minority leader, bitch McConnell.
Bitch McConnell. Yeah. I don't want to make this a political podcast, but, I always want to make everything a political podcast.
I just feel like I could use a little bit more money. But I have been fortunate in that my job really didn't shut down for too long. So I'm still making around the same amount of money that I was making pre-pandemic. Plus I'm doing like things on the side now. So I'm not like stressed about bills. I am, however, stressed about the people who aren't me not being able to pay their bills.
Right. Yeah, that's kind of the same wavelength that I'm on. I can go into a rant about my job and at the drop of a hat, a dime, all those things. I think it's dime, hat, whatever.
It's either.
I can really go into a rant like nobody's business about my job, but I'm trying to maintain the sense of gratitude when it comes to understanding and looking at other people's situations regarding this pandemic, because you could really be out here in an instant and just have no kind of avenue for an income, have no prospects for any kind of money coming in, and not know what you're going to do with your financial situation, not know where you're going to live, not know where your next meal is going to come from. Like, this is real. And it's like our country does not care about us
at all.
Like, it's like the fact that, considering the circumstances, this is the perfect situation for people to say, like, this is a pandemic, so all bets are off, kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? So, like, all of the rules that we usually kind of, use to govern should be thrown out the window, so that way we can make sure that people, A, are healthy, and B, are financially healthy. And it's like, to me, I mean, again, I don't want to make it too political, but it's like, this was a perfect opportunity for, I think, Donald Trump to ensure his reelection if he acted like a fucking human being. If the Republican Party acted like a human beings, they would be able to say, like, considering that you guys are going through a pandemic, like, I understand. They don't, but I understand. This is horrible. Let me throw the Republican playbook out the window. We don't care about, the size of the government right now because it's a pandemic. Let me just send you guys the checks so that you guys, and that would have ensured their victory. Because it's like, not only his popularity as a political figure, but also you would have people from the Democratic side, or, traditionally Democratic people saying, like, Well, Donald Trump did send us checks.
Every month he made sure that we were taken care of.
Right. The Republican Party, they did, they were the bigger people. And although this goes against their convictions, they would look that over because they understand the severity of the situation. And it's like the perfect storm. You can say, like, because it's a pandemic, that's why we kind of, decided to send out those checks, or decided to kind of throw away our traditional way of governing. But like them niggas couldn't even do that. Like, could not even do that with all those that potential for that political, to ensure their political power. And now we're in a situation where it's like, maybe we'll get some sort of relief. Maybe we'll get some sort of relief. And I am hopeful now, knowing, that the Senate has been flipped, that essentially all of the branches of government are led by Democrats. We can be in a situation, well, not the, Supreme Court, but we can be in a situation where we're talking about even the prospect of recurring checks. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was only just a pipe dream before, but now it's like, maybe this is something that can legitimately happen because people need relief. Like, this is a thing that people need. Mm-hmm. Like, when I think about people like my mom, if something like she didn't have an income. You know what I'm saying? Like, she needed the government to step in to provide an income for her because she was in a situation where she could work. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but the way that this is not a but, this is a asterisk. The way that I see it, though, is like, the government doesn't care when anybody else can't work. So now it's like, okay, the pandemic's here and it's causing you guys not to work. Why should we care? Because we didn't care when Joe homeless person didn't have a job.
Right.
We didn't care when Joe homeless person didn't have a place to live. So why did you expect us to care when you now don't have a place to live? And this ties into, have you been paying attention to anything that's going on in the stock market recently?
I don't know. I've heard all of the stories and I feel like I've heard people talk about what's going on, but I have no idea what the hell any of this means.
Basically, the rich people are trying to get richer. Mm-hmm. Some poor people realized what was happening and tried to play the rich people's game. Mm-hmm. They played it successfully and made a bunch of money off of it. And then somehow, against all laws and rules, the rich people just shut the game down and were like, okay, you can't play anymore. You're making too much money.
Oh no, see. Yeah, and that's how every single person who I've seen talk about that issue, that's how they've kind of explained it. It was like a situation where people saw what was going on, especially a lot of people have been made more rich during this pandemic than they have previously, especially when you think about companies like Amazon, like who, all this stuff is happening online, changing completely how we deal with like retail in general. And they were like, they just bought stock in specific companies. And then because I guess of the sheer load of people buying stock, that like made it worth more. And then those people had to actually like provide that money to people. I don't know how stocks work, bitch. I don't know how stocks work. I have no stocks. I need someone to explain it to me because I have no idea how it works.
I mean, I don't have a ton of knowledge on it either, but I did buy some stock in AMC once I saw what everything was going on. But basically what happens is when you're a stockbroker or like a big Wall Street guy, you can short certain stocks, which I think means you pull all your money out of it so that the stock plummets, knowing that it's not going to fold basically. But when it plummets, you can buy it again for really cheap. And then when it goes back up, you make a bunch of money off of it.
Okay.
So people who aren't big Wall Street guys or stockbrokers realized which stocks were going to be shorted. And once they were shorted, started buying them up at the cheap price so that the stockbrokers and the Wall Street guys couldn't get them.
Okay. So like, and that's all based off of the concept that like places like the theaters, and this is really fucked up when you think about it though, but places like the theaters and GameStop, because I know that was the one that they talked about, like the prospects of them becoming like fruitful, productive businesses is kind of lost because people not going to brick and mortar.
Yeah. Especially stores. In a pandemic, people are not going to the movie theater. But I'm pretty sure movie theaters are going to bounce back.
Right.
But
I think GameStop, I mean, I don't understand why GameStop hasn't transitioned into like a more digital.
It definitely, I mean, GameStop.com is a thing.
Right.
I'm not sure why they still have so many brick and mortar stores though. because it's just unnecessary.
But I also think I'm not a gamer, but I also feel like when I think about the concept of a GameStop, it was integral to. Well, I'm not a gamer now, but I used to be. I mean, I don't play games. I watch people play games. When I think about the concept of GameStop was like everything to me when I was growing up. Like you can go there, buy and use games.
You could
like,
trade stuff in.
You could get like used equipment for the game. Like you can get like used controllers. You can get used like pieces for the game, the game systems. And it's like, I don't see why that kind of company doesn't need to exist. I feel like if anything, we just need to transition to like an eBay type situation where you can still sell used material, but do it online. Because I feel like when you think about people in lower income communities, that would make gaming and things like that more accessible. Because digital shit is expensive.
So expensive.
Digital shit is really expensive.
It doesn't make any fucking sense either. Because it's like, okay, when I used to have to go and buy a disc that came in a case with a wrap, it's like, okay, I'm paying $60 for this, but I'm getting the game, I'm getting the artwork, I'm getting all of the information about the game.
Yeah.
When you're buying a digital copy, you're getting the game, that's it, and it still costs $60. Right. Yeah. Like, what are we doing? It doesn't cost as much to produce a digital game, I'm assuming, as it does a disc, because you have to produce the digital game and then also print it onto a disc and then also print the artwork and then also have the plastic for the case. I would assume that just the game would cost less to produce. So why does it cost the same for me to buy it?
But then it's also, okay, the concept of cost, but at what cost? Because it's like people producing, I don't know what the process is to produce these discs, but I'm assuming that there's some human being at some part of this process who has an income attached to the production of these discs. We're making the decision collectively. Well, it's not really a decision that anyone's making. It's just a transition where the transition is happening that's going to, well, that's the issue with automation anyway, but that's going to transition that person's job into, nothingness because we've all transitioned into this kind of digital platform when it like, we can make the decision as a collective to say, GameStop, we value what you offer the community. I'm not even saying like GameStop is like this, small business, community store, like mom and pop shop. That's not what I'm saying. But I feel like if we want to make the decision to prioritize human beings' lives and incomes and livelihoods, we should be able to do that the same way that, we can prioritize these other mechanisms for purchasing the same kind of fucking items, bitch.
And I think the people who, so this, going back to the stock thing, this all started on Reddit. Somebody on Reddit got wind of what was happening and was like, hey, y'all, do this. So, and I think that part of their like ideal in this is that they do value GameStop and they do value brick and mortar movie theaters like AMC. A little bit anyway, in the sense that most people are like, okay, we've bought up this stock, don't sell it now. So like the $15 of AMC stock, which is not a lot, that I bought a couple days ago is now $25, which is great. It has almost doubled. I've not had to do anything.
So like when you, okay, we need to have someone who's like a financial person come on the show.
We probably know somebody who is. Kevin. Let's invite Kevin. Kevin's supposed to come.
Bitch. We're calling out to you, bitch. Come on the show. So like when you buy a stock, this is you saying, okay, I have a part ownership of the company.
It's a very minuscule ownership.
But you have part ownership of the company.
Yes.
So you say you buy it, like in your case, for $15 in the AMC. Then the price of the stock goes up. You then made an additional $10 on your investment.
So if I sold my portion of the company now, I would have made $10 without having to do anything.
Okay.
But that's only because the stock is rising. There are stocks that
fall.
Yes, and then you lose money. But in this case, it was because they were so cheap, because it had been shorted, it's going to go back up, especially if people start buying it up, which is what's happening.
So in order to short something, people already had stock in it in the first place, right?
Yeah, but these are like big people who own 10, 20% of the company decided to sell 10% of it. So now they only own 10%. And instead of 90% of the company belonging to the public, now only 30% of the company belongs to the public. So now the stock is worth nothing.
So because there's not a lot of people who are invested in the stock, that's why the stock
Yeah.
fell.
Yeah.
And then they were like, okay, so let's go back and rebuy this to make the price go up.
But it's like we're gonna leave it down for now, and we're gonna put our money somewhere else. Talking as like a Wall Street guy, we're gonna put our money somewhere else, and then later on, after the stock continues to fall, we'll buy it up again. So we sold it for, I'm gonna do small numbers so it makes sense. Say we sold it for $10. Because it was, we sold our stock in AMC for $10 because we're trying to short it. And then a month from now, we're going to come and rebuy it after the stock has fallen to like $2 a stock. So now I can buy 20 times as much because I bought it, or I sold it for $10. I'm going to spend all $10. That's not 20 times, 5 times as much. I'm going to spend all $10 on these stocks. Now I have 5 times as much stock as I did before, and it's going to rise. So now when it's worth $10 a stock again, I now have $50. So I spent $10
to get
50.
That's wild. That is fucking wild. This is wild. This is happening in our American institutions, bitch. This is I don't know anything about this. I really need to start learning about like that level of finance. Like I feel like I know about like personal finance, how to build credit, how to establish a good credit history, but when it comes to like that level, I really think I need someone to start teaching, because even as someone who wants all this shit to burn, you still are
a part of it,
right?
And you still have to thrive in it,
right? You're still an active participant in the system, so it's like I feel like it may not even be in my generation that this shit burns to a crisp, but I still need to provide for a family. So it's like, and I was listening to a podcast where they were talking about. And this was a thought that I had or used to kind of operate from, like people who you're not going to be able to save yourself into wealth.
No.
Like you're not going to be able to save the money that you literally make from your job where you're, laboring all these hours and use that and like literally save those dollars to get to a point where you're going to be wealthy. It doesn't work that way.
It does not.
You have to learn how to do shit like this in order to be in a situation where you're going to have enough income, wealth, assets, whatever, in order to sustain yourself so that you don't have to literally labor.
You have to learn how to play the game. And the thing is, what I've learned in the last couple of days with this whole stock market thing is when too many of the little guys learn how to play the game and start playing it well, the big guys just shut the game down.
Right.
Because what happened was Robinhood and then TD Ameritrade, I think, basically stopped anybody who only had a little bit of money from buying the stock once they saw what everybody was doing and how the stock was going up and how people were like getting rich, quote unquote, because it wasn't rich. Like people were making like $300, $400 off of it. That's a lot for somebody who doesn't have money.
Yes.
But as a hedge fund manager, it's like, what's $300? But once they saw that we were starting to make a little bit of money off of it, they were just like, oh, you can't buy it anymore. You can sell it. You can sell it for what it's worth today, but you can't buy it anymore. You can't make it go up anymore.
So when they stop allowing people to buy it, that makes it so that they can't do what they did and increase the rate or increase.
It makes it, they only did it for the little people. So if I wanted to buy another $15, I couldn't. But if I wanted to buy $600 worth of it, I could. But I don't have $600 to spend on the stock right now. But so like a hedge fund manager has $600. They can spend $600, buy a couple of shares, spend $3,200, buy a couple of shares. And then when the stock goes back up, then they can sell that $3,200 worth of shares for $1 million.
Yeah, okay.
But I can't buy anymore with my $15. So I can't make another $25.
So that you can't contribute you can't participate in the system.
Which is illegal. That's the part that blows me. It's like one that's illegal and it's against the rules of the stock exchange. So overnight, y'all have changed the rules of the stock exchange, but you're saying we can't change the rules overnight and give y'all $2,000 checks every month.
Yeah. And the thing that I've seen that has really made this, even though I don't really understand the minutia of it all the way, I do appreciate seeing people who are wealthy like squirm at the prospect of what this could mean for the financial system. That makes me so happy. I was actually listening to a podcast today. I love them. The political podcast called The Majority Report. They do like political analysis and like opinion pieces. And there was this millionaire on CNBC. I forget. I think he was a billionaire actually, and he was freaking the fuck out. He was he was like, this is completely ridiculous. This is bullshit. People are getting free money from the government and then they're using it to kind of do shit like this, Which is
what you did. Maybe not free money from the government, but you got free money from your daddy and then you did shit like this.
And then it's like, I know so many people who literally posted on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, was like, what are you going to do with your, $1,600 check? What are you going to do with your $1,200 check? Wouldn't it make sense for you to not only spend that money, but also invest it? So it's like, this is a thing that we'll say to people in order to shame them for how they use their money. Because it's like, don't spend that on things that you need, like, housing, housing, toilet paper, goods, or, fucking burn you at the stake if you decide that you're going to use a $1,200 check from the government to, like, buy shoes or buy a bag. But if you shame people for doing that, and then say to them, you should be investing that money, they do that. Mm-hmm. And then you're like, no, you shouldn't be doing that. And then shame them still. So really, it's like, fuck all y'all niggas. Mm-hmm. And you don't need no
Don't
money.
touch my money, basically.
Right.
This money is mine. You're supposed to be over there being poor.
Right. We could really go into a tangent about some politics, some sort of current event, like nobody's fucking business. But I want to read more about this whole situation, because it's like, wild to me to think that, like, why don't people just do that
all the time?
Like, why don't people just collectively say, okay, anyone who has investments in this particular company, let's take them out collectively, and then go watch some other shit rise or fall or whatever, then come back and buy it, and then hold people accountable. I mean, I don't know how that does,
because I think the issue with that is that not enough of us who are little and actually care about other people have enough stock to make a difference. Whereas like hedge fund managers who don't care about other people
have the majority
have all of it.
Yeah.
And what I like the most about this, and this can be the last thing we say on this, because this was not supposed to be political at all.
Right.
Is the pettiness of it all. Like you said, you like watching the millionaires squirm. I was reading on Reddit that people were like, if you have stock in AMC, don't sell it. Mm-hmm. Like, it's like if you bought $300 last week, you can maybe make $1,000 now, but don't sell it. And it's like, I've been poor my whole life, so I don't care.
Right,
I don't care about this little $25 that I made. What I care about is
what it does to y'all.
Yes, that you hedge fund managers are mad that you can no longer buy up this stock because I have it.
Right.
But I have no intention of giving it to you.
And you don't deserve it. So you don't deserve it. So you're just going to sit there mad while I have this stock. Yep. I have no stock, but because you have it, I have it. So this is our stock that we own. We have $25 in AMC, bitch. And guess what? You don't. So you're going to be mad in the corner.
Mm-hmm.
That is wild. What is our world coming to?
An end, hopefully.
Girl, and I have feelings about that, but I don't want to get too depressed. But yeah, so the original question was, how are we doing during this whole ordeal?
We're fine.
We're fine. And the world, it's slowly burning and coming to a crisp, but there's prospects for, a little water.
Maybe we will grow anew. From the ashes, we shall rise.
Come
like
on,
a phoenix.
Yes. Hopefully.
And hopefully it's only, those of us who are socialists who rise from the ashes. If you're ever interested in watching me play, The Sims, Animal Crossing, sometimes I do some pew pew games, you can follow me or check me out on twitch.tv/Taylor Renee. I'd be having a good time, okay? I'd be having a great time. We've been playing The Sims. We've come up with a really cool LP. LP is short for Let's Play. Anyway, right now where we're trying to have 100 babies while also being a black widow. So marrying rich men and then stealing their money and then killing them. And also being haunted by a bunch of ghosts in the haunted house that we live in with our 100 babies and all of our husbands. It's a fun time. I think you should stop by. Twitch.tv/Taylor Renee.
Yeah.
There was something we were talking about before we started recording. We were like, save this for the podcast. What was it? Because let's talk about that.
We were talking about
emotional ghosting or something like that.
Like ghosting and like my love life, essentially. Okay, so I'm making an active effort to take a break from men right now.
I feel like you say that on every podcast that we have ever recorded.
Yeah, right.
And then I'm around you and there's no break in sight.
But it's like, this is something I'm actively doing in this current moment. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay. It's like when you're on a diet, you're
actively on a diet until you choose to eat those chips.
Well, and it's like, even choice is such an interesting word because it's like you falter, you know, because the chips are delicious and they're easily accessible. So it's like, that's kind of the same way. It's like I know for me, when it comes to me accomplishing my goals and me being productive in the ways that I want to be and me being in my comfort zone of equilibrium, like where I feel like I'm actually like happy and doing the things I want to do, I'm not talking to men when I'm doing those things. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I find that I spend so much time and energy fucking just communicating with niggas that I don't. It's not that I'm not going to say that I don't feel like anything is going to come of it, but it's more so like I'm just a jaded person because I really, I'm like, what is really going to come of this? Because I'm just skeptical of the whole process. And I know that I'm this way, but I still do this. So I'm like, maybe the best thing for me is just to not talk to anyone.
Okay.
Take a break, get away from people. But the interesting thing is that like, you have to, if you want to be a not shitty person, you have to communicate with people that you were talking to previously to transition into this process of not talking to anyone. And I was talking about how like I have friends, air quotes, where I've had mixed reactions of like one friend who I was like, I'm taking a break, and like you, he was like, you said this multiple times. Like, what do you mean you're taking a break? And I was like, I just need some time to be away from people, to be away from men. I just need the time to get, you know, focus on myself, focus on my goals. And he was like, you know, this is kind of the third time that we've been talking where you said something like this, so I feel like we just shouldn't talk, essentially was the conclusion. And I was like, I mean, I can't be mad. And I was like, I'm sorry, because that's legitimately not the interaction that I wanted, the reaction I wanted. But if that's how you feel, that's how you feel. And I'm sorry, because it's just hard to be me. No, it's just hard
To be.
it's just hard to hold yourself accountable to like not putting blame on other people for how they respond or how they react to something.
I do that a lot.
Because it's like he's well within his rights to be like, you know what? I don't like the fact that this is a constant conversation that we've had over the course of us talking. So I'm just going to choose to disengage completely because of it. That's cool. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I feel like there's also nothing wrong with me still making the decision to take a break. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's my boundary. That's his boundary. There wasn't any kind of overlap. It was more so just like, okay, we don't need to talk with each other.
Yeah.
That's one interaction I've had when I've told people I'm taking a break from talking to men. And then the other one has just been like people just not honoring the boundary.
See, but that's the one that's the issue. Because it's like, the first one is like sad because it's kind of like a you won't wait for me type situation. But at the same time, it's like I don't have any right to ask you to wait. So it is what it is. But the second one is like I'm telling you I don't like this and you keep doing it.
Yeah. And that's why I'm just in this space of like just ignoring. Like at this point, it's like this to me is not ghosting because I've told you.
Yeah. I feel like you have communicated effectively what your intentions are.
Right.
And those intentions are not being honored.
So at this point, if I don't say anything to you, I don't feel like I'm in the wrong.
No.
I'm just telling because I told you I need to take a break because I don't know. I just needed to take a break. So, and I feel like I'm well within my rights to say at any point during an interaction with someone, I don't want to continue this, or I need some time. I need to focus on me, that kind of thing. And if you continue to talk to me after that, that's a you thing, not a me thing.
Yeah.
So
for sure.
Yeah. And it was just interesting kind of sifting through my feelings about that because I don't want to be a fuckboy. You get what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to be someone who...
I don't think that's fuckboy behavior, though. Fuckboy behavior would be just cutting everybody off without saying anything.
Right, which I have done, and which is not outside the realm of possibility if I... Because it really depends on the kind of interactions you're having with people. Keep in mind, context. These are not people who I've had, like, deep, connections with, where we have a relationship where we, like... we're on the verge of getting married, engaged, bitch. That's not that. This is not this at all. These are niggas I've met on the apps who I text. And mostly, some of them I talk on the phone. Some of them we FaceTime. And there's multiple of them at the same time.
It's a thought, y'all.
Bitch. Bitch.
I'm kidding.
You're not, but it's okay. Don't flex. Like, I mean, I don't feel any ways about that. But I'm just saying, like, there's multiple people, and you know, like, people don't understand that, like, when you're talking to other people, and I don't even think I'm not an introvert in the slightest. I don't think so. Maybe I'm kind of a mix, but I feel like you're literally spending time and energy into establishing these relationships with people or just connections or talking to people. That's literal time and energy. And I'm like, I want to get away from spending so much time on like a romance, at least at this point in my life, and focus more on like career shit, more on growing as a person, learning. I mean, I already like the person that I am, but still loving my own company, like, and being alone and being happy. And I don't feel like, maybe I'll falter here and there, but I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying, but...
What did JT say? Dick is a distraction.
Right. Like, I wholeheartedly sometimes feel like the time in my life when I was the most productive, as far as, like I made goals for myself, I met the goals, exceeded my expectations, committed myself to a routine, committed myself to, doing the work to achieve said goal. That's when I was celibate. That's and when I was celibate for about a year and a half, I did not have sex with anyone, and I was able to achieve so fucking much that it was like it is like, bitch, I'm scared.
Because it's really like when you be thinking about dick, you be thinking about dick. Like, you don't be thinking about other things. It's
right.
Like you sitting here daydreaming about dick. You planning dates to get dick when you could be doing almost anything else. What do they say? They say about black women when they get out of relationships, they get 3 new jobs. They got a new business. They
87
got a skincare
degrees.
routine.
Right. That's how I feel. I am black women. Black women. Okay. That's how I feel as well. Like, when I remember explicitly, like, when I was in graduate school, like my first semester, I didn't do so hot because I don't think it's because I was spending time focusing on other niggas, but it was like, you're in this new point of your life, you have all this shit going on, and maybe you're having interactions with other people, and that can take away your time from studying and doing the work that you need to do. Once I committed myself to like not having sex, it wasn't even like an active thing. It was like, okay, I just wasn't getting any. And then that turned into a year. And I realized, wait, bitch, you did so much in that year. Like, I was able to get my grades up. I was able to get myself on a routine and get myself in a comfortable position where it's like, you're waking up. I immediately started reading, immediately started doing the work that I needed to do for that day, was writing kind of consistently. So it's like,
you got a nice routine.
Because I wasn't spending time on these niggas. And it's like, especially if you really want to get into it, if you're a bottom, bitch.
Because girls. The amount of time that y'all have to spend to be ready for things, it's just too much, y'all. It's too much.
It's too much time.
It's too much.
It's too much time. Like, when I tell you, like, literally, like, it's when you are someone, people don't understand. Like, I really could go on a rant.
Because I didn't understand. I still might not understand. But the little bit that I do understand is too fucking much. It's too fucking much.
It's too much. And, like, when you are making the commitment to, it shouldn't be an identity. You're not just a bottom. But when you're going to be someone who participates in bottoming, there's a lot of decisions that you have to make in order that affect your daily fucking life. Like, you have to pay attention to what you eat.
Yes.
You have to. Unless you're a scat girl, which I'm not.
Oh my God.
And I'm not judging nobody.
Some
that's their,
that's just not my thing.
That's not mine as either. Unless you're a scat girl, I'm not one of those girls. So I have to pay attention so that one of the things I do, Taylor knows this, I take a fiber supplement every single day.
Ugh, every day. And it's this disgusting thick ass orange drink.
Leave me alone. I take that every single day to just help bolster, my fiber intake so that way, you know, I'm always on a regular schedule. I always pay attention to my body. I have a process where, like, if I know I'm going to be participating in activities that require penetration in my...
Come on, penetration.
Okay, penetration. I know that, okay, the day before I said penetration is going to be happening, you have to stop eating by a certain time so things can move out of your system.
This is just so crazy.
To make sure you have a constant intake of water. Like, there is a process that people don't understand. At least as far as my body's concerned, everybody is different. So instead of, you know, investing that time and energy into doing the work of doing that, I'm like, let me invest that time and energy to doing other work of, like, you've been talking about that you wanted to do this podcast. Do that. You've been talking about getting on a regular schedule when it comes to the gym. Like going to the gym, you've been going 4 days a week. You want to do at least 5 to 6. Let's focus on doing that. Like, there are things that I know I want to do that I can put time and energy into to actually achieve if I don't spend my time doing that shit for dick and niggas. So
Dick is a distraction.
It's truly... It's a wonderful distraction, and I enjoy it. And I'm not saying this to shame anyone. I'm not saying that if you invest your time and energy into doing that you're a horrible person. I just know for me what I need to get done as far as my life is concerned. I feel like, you know, I'm dramatic. Like, I have 2 modes. It's like,
I don't care about anything, or I overly care about everything.
Right.
Those are your 2 modes.
I need to work on that, bitch, because I feel like there has to be a point in my life where I get to, like, a healthy medium where it's like, okay, you can have an active sex life, an active dating life, romance, that kind of thing, and still be, you know, able to do the things that you want to.
I don't know, because I've been thinking about, like, not having enough time to do all the things that I want to do a lot recently. Like, I've been thinking about how, I said this on Twitter, I was talking about this on Twitter, how... And I took it towards being a woman, but it could be literally anything. I was like, it's hard being a working woman who's also in a relationship, who also has hobbies and goals and aspirations, because there's just not enough time in the day for me to devote the amount of time I want to each thing.
Right.
So it's like, there was a point in time where I was taking streaming really seriously. I had a regular stream schedule. Like, I was growing. Everything was great. Kind of like the podcast. I was growing. Everything was great. And then it was like, but I'm neglecting my personal relationships. So then I was like, okay, let me put a little more effort into my personal relationships, and I stopped with my regular stream schedule, and I plateaued. I was not growing anymore. So it's like, same with when I want to be great at work. If I'm great at work, nothing else gets any attention ever.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know how to balance all of these things and have everything be great at the same time. It's like a pie chart, right? So if my attention is on these 2 things, then the other 4 things on the chart are getting no attention and they suck.
Yeah.
There's no point where everything on the chart is getting enough attention.
Right. And that's, I've, my approach to tackling that issue has been, something has to give. You get what I'm saying? And it's horrible, but I feel like, specifically as Black people, specifically Black women, specifically Black femme people, Black queer people, you can't do everything that you want to. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't, it's just too much, specifically in our world, in our society, it's too much. So you have to, you know, give and take. And right now the take is, I'm going to decide to try to live a life of celibacy and not deal with niggas right now. This could change next week. Leave me alone. I'm a woman. Okay. I'm a human. I can change my mind. Leave me the fuck alone. And decide to not want to invest time and energy into, like, romantic prospects. But then, like, say, okay, you're committing more time to developing your relationship with your mom, or being a better friend, or being, you know. And I think that's just, you know, give and take. And giving yourself a little bit of, you know,
leeway.
Yeah, give yourself a little bit of leeway.
Be
grace.
nice to yourself.
Be nice to yourself, because it's like, you're one person in this. There are so many roles and hats that you have to put on just to exist throughout the day.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of give yourself a little bit of credit and the benefit of the doubt, so that way you don't drive yourself crazy, because you can't be everything to everyone at the same time. You can't. So I understand.
There was a point in time where I was really thriving on YouTube and on Twitch, but I was not. Every time y'all were like, "Hey, you want to go out this weekend?" I was like, "No, I'm good."
Right.
There was like a 4-month span. It might have even been longer than that, where I was like, "No, I'm not going out this weekend." And I was like feeling really bad about it. I was like, I'm neglecting my friends. I never spend any time with them, but I just don't have time. Like,
Yeah.
on the times when we would be out, like at the clubs and stuff, I would be up editing, or I would be up doing new elements for my stream. So it's like, I don't have time to do all of these things, and I feel bad that I'm neglecting my friends. But it's like, at this point, do I choose my friends, or do I choose what I would like to be my career, you know?
Right. And I mean, at that moment, in that specific period of time, like a lot of this stuff is contextual. In that moment, in that specific time, the priority was your career. We ain't doing shit, bitch. We gonna be there the following weekend.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you need to have the kind of relationships with people where, and this is why I appreciate, even though I have had that interaction with Homeboy where he was like, we don't need to talk because this is something that you said multiple times. So he thinks I'm bullshitting. Fair. He can think that. I have other people who are like, cool, understanding, you know, we might have an interaction in the future. So you have to have people in your life where they understand, you know, that part of your life is taking a priority over interacting with them.
Yeah.
And it's okay. Like I have the kind of relationships where like we may not talk. I'm not the girl that talks to my friends every single day.
Me neither.
I'm not.
I could go weeks without talking to anybody.
Right. And that's okay. Like, and that's okay.
It's gonna have to be, because I'm not talking to y'all right now.
And that's okay. And we have the kind of relationship where we can start where we left off once we get back together.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
And I want people to be more like that. And I'm not saying you're bad if you're the other way, where you need, you know, that constant kind of interaction with people. I just know that that's hard for me because it doesn't work for my literal natural orientation to the world. Like when I wake up, I don't immediately think like, let me text such and such person. That's not how it works. My immediate response is, bitch, what do I need from today? What do I need to get from you?
I want to get to that point, because when I wake up in the morning, it's fuck all of this shit. But also, let me look at my phone.
Like, what do I need to get through this day? And that's like, that kind of sounds depressing, because you don't want to just be getting through the day. You want to be living your life and enjoying.
We live in a capitalist structure, and thus we must only get through the day.
Through the day. For now, because we got something for their asses.
For that ass.
For that ass.
It's socialism. We have socialism for that ass.
And it's bitch, it's coming. Mm-hmm.
I believe. Although, did you... Ooh, okay. We said we weren't going to go political, but I do have a question.
Go ahead.
Did you see the first draft of Biden's healthcare plan?
No, I didn't.
Because remember how when he was running against Bernie, and Bernie was like, free healthcare for everyone, and Biden was like, but we'll give you a public option. And everybody was like, oh, public option is great.
Because you could have the option of doing that and keeping, if you really like your plan, you can keep your plan too. Your
first draft of his healthcare plan does not include a public option. What it looks like it is we're all going back to Obamacare, where it is going to be subsidized insurance, which I guess is better than nothing. Mm-hmm. But then we're still going back to the situation where you're going to be fined on your taxes if you don't have insurance. And it's like, why do you think I can afford $250, an extra $250 a month? And if I can't afford an extra $250 a month, why do you think I can afford $600 during tax season? Hello? It's just mind blowing, because I'm thinking about this one specific person on Twitter, and you know her. I mean, not on Twitter, on Facebook, and you know her, and how she was like going to bat for Biden because the public option is really the only thing that makes sense. And it's going to be fine that we don't get free healthcare because we'll have a public option. So just vote for Biden. It's important that you vote blue no matter who. Ooh, that shit pisses me off. But anyway, now we're here and it's like, where's your public option, bitch? Where's it at? Because it seems like we're back in the same situation we were in before.
And it's also kind of like, as far as I know with the public option, it's like there is still going to be an increase in taxes. It's just that you're not getting the benefit, as much of the benefit that you would get if it were like a Medicare for all situation. Because it's like there's going to be more people putting into the pot of subsidizing this policy for the vast majority of people. So your taxes are by virtue going to increase because it's going to require that more people participate in order to then therefore be beneficiaries of this public option policy. So it's like, okay, a tax increase is still going to happen, but we're not going to get what we really should be having, which is a Medicare for all system where, fucking healthcare is free at the point of service, meaning that we've already put in terms of the taxes, we've already put in the money, and this is a benefit of paying this higher tax. So that way, when we go to the doctors, we don't have to pay anything at the time of service. So the public option, it's going to be an increase in taxes, and I'm assuming you're still going to have out-of-pocket costs. It's just that it's going to be quote-unquote subsidized. But like, again, to make something subsidized, there has to be people paying into the pot.
But it's like, the public option is shitty to me.
Yes.
But it is, if we can't have the Medicare for all situation, I would take the public option as my next, that would be my next tier.
Right.
But now it's totally disappeared. So it's like, we don't even get that. And that's what you ran on, sir. So like, already.
And if that's true, that's becoming a theme. And Democrats, y'all really need to be very strategic in how you operate under this Biden presidency, specifically with these first 2 years. Because already we're talking about, Biden literally said, if you vote in Georgia, you're going to get $2,000 checks. The Republicans are, if you vote for who is it? Warnock and Ossoff, bitch. You're going to get $2,000 checks if you vote.
Where are they at, friend? Where are they at?
Now it's like you're gonna get $1,400 checks.
Because we already got the $600. That's what he said, right? $600 and $1,400 equals.
Which, okay. But I feel like you should have said that. You know what I'm saying? Because niggas were thinking, oh, we're getting an additional $2,000. And it's like, what you don't understand is there's political ramifications for doing that. You have people out here who who participated in the political process when they've never done that before, because they thought that, okay, this is going to yield some sort of direct material benefit to me.
We're going to get the help that we need.
Right.
If we do this one thing.
And they're already skeptical of government. They already think all politicians are bullshit. They think that this is my brother. They think that there's no kind of material benefit for participating in the political process because, as far as they know, even though this is not true, as far as they know, that it doesn't affect their lives directly. This is not true, but this is what they believe. So when you say to them, we're not going to honor what we said, and you're kind of weaseling out of that commitment, they're becoming disinterested in the process.
Because you're basically spitting in my face. Like,
right.
why were you so pressed for me to do this thing for you to turn around and be like, oh, but I'm not going to do the thing for you that I said I would do if you did the thing for me. Like,
right. Correct. Absolutely. And that's what I'm saying. The Democrats, y'all need to be very, 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 very careful on how you want to operate. Because what you fail to realize is that, like, you're beholden to your base at this point, and your base is people who are, to be honest, to the left of you. The vast majority of people, I think, because it was like Biden was out here talking about, at the minimum, he was going to forgive a $10,000 student loan debt.
Where's that?
And as far as I know, and as far as I've been reading, he could do that with the stroke of a pen. Correct.
All he has to do is sign his name on a piece of paper.
And that $10,000 would be completely forgiven. You could do that. And that would, to me, it wouldn't do a lot for a lot of people. It would do something for some people. But I feel like that could do something, that could be something that could ensure, like, you holding your word.
That's you giving more than lip service. That is you actually doing a thing that you said you were
going to do. Bitch, when someone showed you who they are, believe them. So if you say, this is something I'm going to do, and then you do it, it's like, that's political power.
Right.
That you can then say, remember that time I said I was going to forgive $10,000, and I forgave $10,000? Even if me, as someone who is left, write all that shit off. Like, to the left of him, write all of it off. All of it needs to go away, because all of this is fucking, imprisoning people to be in jobs that they don't need to fucking be in.
But the fact that you did the little bit that you said you would do makes me feel like, okay, next time you say that you're going to do something, I'm going to be on your side. I'm going to be behind you for it, because you said it, because you proved me right this time, or you did it this time.
Right. So, Democrats, because I am a Democrat. I vote Democratic,
I do
but
too.
I'm to the left of the vast majority of the
Yes.
mainstream Democratic Party.
I'm quite left of them.
However, pay attention, and I'm always going to participate in the political process just because I feel like it's my duty as a person who understands the capacity of government to impact people's lives. I'm going to participate. You will lose people who are not me, who are not so committed to, you know, these ideals that you feel like, you know, every citizen should be committed to, who are going to not participate in the process if you don't do shit for them. And if you don't do what you say that you're going to do.
Because that's literally all you're there for.
Right.
We elected you to do things for us.
Right. And I hear you when you say Republicans are going to be obstructive, and that's literally what they're going to do.
But they can only obstruct so much.
Right.
Especially now that we have flipped the Senate.
Right.
They can only obstruct so much. So you can't lean on that for too much longer. You have to actually start doing things. And
I need you to start I need you to start saying things like, the reason that you don't have your check is because Republicans don't give a fuck about you.
Right.
Like you were saying, it would be different if it was like y'all were showing us how obstructive that they were being by saying like, they literally don't care about you. You know what I'm saying? Like I need you to see you doing also the political campaigning to put the blame on them. It's like I'm seeing a lot of like mainstream news press coverage where it's kind of like, what are the Republicans gonna do? How are they gonna distance themselves from Donald Trump? And it's like, bitch, this is them.
Right.
This is the Republicans. This is y'all. This is who you are as a party.
Distance yourself from what? You're gonna distance yourself from your cousin, essentially.
Right. Your brother, your father, your uncle, this is you. So what I'm saying is like, you can't distance yourself from this. I mean, because when it's like, I can't, because I would go down a rabbit hole. But what I'm just saying is you can't distance yourself from it. So this whole message about unity and trying to, you know, reach across the aisle and bipartisanship, all of that feels hollow to me because I don't understand how you can work with someone who literally incited a riot. Mm-hmm. And people who saw that this was going on, even after the fact, still participated in the lie that contributed to the incitement of the riot. Mm-hmm. How do you work with those people?
AOC tweeted recently, I think she was talking about everything that's going on in Wall Street, and she was like, the government needs to look into this. And then Ted Cruz quote tweeted it and was like, I'm with you on this. We need to look into this. And then AOC was like, cool. It's cool that this is like a bipartisan issue, but you tried to have me killed a couple weeks ago. I'm not trying to work with you. I'll work with almost anybody else, but not you, nigga. That's basically what she said. She ain't say all that, but that's basically what she said.
That's basically what she said. And I saw that, I was like, I mean, that's true. Like, people need to start saying the quiet part out loud. Like, right. Bitch, the Republican Party has completely lost their fucking mind.
Correct.
And I don't think that at this point they cannot be considered an arbiter of anything objective. They're not based in the fuck reality. So because they're not based in reality, I don't understand what kind of contribution they can provide when we're talking about providing relief to Americans. Because even the fundamental part of Republican ideology is not even believing in government. Like, they believe in a very, very small government. So they don't really understand the concept of governance. Mm-hmm. It's particularly in a situation where this requires the government to actually do something for its, people. So because they're kind of operating from that frame, we can't work with them. There's no working with them. So you have to beat them. You have to have more power than them so that you can do the things that you say are going to benefit people and provide a material difference in their lives. And y'all need to do it.
The idea of that kind of freaks me out, though, because what were we talking about earlier? How when the little guy figures out how to play the game gets shut down. Right. I'm feeling like in the situation that we're talking about now, the Democrats, those of us, we are the little guys. So once we figure out how to play the game, once we get the power back in our court, the game is just going to get shut down. Like, everything is going to turn on its head. Those are my thoughts.
And that's essentially what happened when them niggas stormed the Capitol.
Right.
They were like, oh, I don't want to believe truth. Like, I don't want to believe that my eyes that are telling me the truth. Oh, wait, he's actually moving into the White House, bitch. Oh, wait, like, there's going to be a transfer of power. He's not elected president. everything has to crumble.
Right.
Because
shut it all down.
Because what I wanted to happen didn't happen. And it's like, you can say that when Donald Trump was elected that there were people who were obstructing him, who didn't fuck with him, who didn't like any of his policies because he actually was a horrible person.
Nobody stormed the White House, though.
Thank you.
I mean, not the White House, the Capitol. Nobody did that.
Nobody did that. We all dealt with him for the 4 years.
Right.
We did not want him there.
Talked our shit on Twitter and we were pissed off, but nobody like attempted a hit on his life. Like nobody stormed into a building and sent a bunch of people into a frenzy. Nobody did all of that.
Nobody. It was giving very much so I'm Schmack. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah.
It was giving very
much. Got shut down because of that shit. Shut down.
It was giving very much so that, and I was like, all of the black people were just like, studying.
Mind my business. That's how I was.
Studying, let me work on this paper that I have that's due tomorrow. Oh, I have a test tomorrow. Let me just make sure I'm, brush up on my, chemistry before this big test tomorrow. Meanwhile, white people are literally outside flipping over cars.
Right. Standing on top of cars, yelling in megaphones,
burning,
breaking windows.
And we're just like, bitch, what?
Let me mind my good ass black ass business.
Right. And I just want people to try their hardest to not become like too comfortable in what's going on, because at this point it's like you even though we all deserve a break, we all deserve to, because I was getting emotional when he became President Biden. I got emotional and I was not a supporter of him at all in terms of the primaries. Once he became the general election, it's like
the only option. It was like, okay, here we go.
Right. But I can't, because it's the end. It was like a sigh of relief. Like, oh my God, evil did not win again. Like, it's really what it felt like. It was like evil did not win again, and we have an opportunity to start anew, a refresh. And I feel like people deserve that.
Mm-hmm. We deserve to at least be able to breathe, at least for a minute.
At least for a moment.
I feel like for the last 4 years, I've been holding my breath, waiting for the next shoe to drop.
Because at any point, it could have been bullets. That's what I keep telling myself. Mm-hmm. At any point, it could have been him in his authoritarian tendencies to say, you know what? I don't like the fact that they don't agree with me. Shoot them. Right. That was not
I'm going to bomb the ghettos. I'm going to, send gas tanks into all the black schools. Like, when I tell you I have intrusive thoughts, right, those are my thoughts.
No, and that's what I'm saying. Like you, because at this point, BLM is really synonymous with black people. Mm-hmm. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, they've already done the work on the right side to not only associate BLM with black people, but also BLM with Antifa. So really, it's not a far of a concept to imagine someone who already has authoritarian tendencies to say they're black. Mm-hmm. They probably support BLM, which means they probably support Antifa, which means that they are not
terrorists.
Right.
And they have to be dealt with.
That, to me, I can see that in the Fox News viewer. I can see that logic, that stream, that line. Mm-hmm. I can see that through line completely. So I don't think that we are crazy for feeling a sigh of relief at the prospect of not having to deal with this man for another 4 years. But I don't want people to become too comfortable and not paying attention like they did with Barack Obama. And me, I was one of those people too. But it's like, different, you're a different time in your life. Yeah. But now I have to pay attention because Joe Biden, you have to help people.
And especially in this time.
Right.
It's like Barack Obama was cool. He was the first black president. Like, he was not a devil. At least we didn't think he was when we elected him. Right. And it's like, it's business as usual in the country, other than like, I guess, the war in Iraq. But It's business as usual in the country. So but now it's not.
Right. Completely not.
It's not business as usual. Businesses are shut down. Yes. Okay. And we need help. We can't pay our bills. We can't feed our children. So you have a lot to do. There's a lot on your shoulders, and we need you to really like do your press ups, bitch. Like, I need you to start running in the morning.
And I need people in government, specifically Congress, to not let the Republicans be evil people. Like, they're going to do that regardless, but you can't let them being evil people affect how you decide to provide for the people that you promised that you were going to provide for. Mm-hmm. You can't, because at this point, there's too much at stake in terms of, from your perspective as a political party, there's too much at stake for your future. Because again, I don't think people understand that, like, people really put themselves out there to vote for Joe Biden. Like, people put themselves out there, and a lot of his accolades as far as being like one of the president who like had the most people vote ever. Wasn't that like a statistic that was released? I feel like that was.
People who have never voted before had no intention of ever voting.
Voted for him. Right. They voted for him. So you have to, if you want to keep those people, you have to do something that benefits them. So
because you're going to need them to vote for you again in 4 years, or we're going to need, because I mean, I haven't been following the second impeachment of Mr. Trump, but if he wasn't impeached, which I'm not sure, I think maybe he was, I don't know, but he could run again. You know, he could run again.
Yeah,
in 4
he was
years.
impeached a second time, but he wasn't convicted. They're doing the Senate trial now.
So if he doesn't get convicted, he could run again in 4 years.
Yeah, but that's not even the biggest issue. Also, the issue is just like, if you don't do anything to reprimand this man for what he did, then it's like you really have no. What is an impeachment for?
Yeah.
Like, if you can't impeach someone because they incited a riot to take over the Capitol and kill people, because that's like, the more that came out about this shit, it was less like I'm smacked and more like fucking Handmaid's Tale.
It was a coup.
Right.
It was a coup.
It was less, it was more, it was, I was like, oh, you know, because when you saw it happen, you saw like these older people just like moseying into the fucking Capitol, and you're like, wait, okay, this is fucked up that they're not even being, you know,
corralled. Like, the Capitol Police are just looking at them and nodding, like, what's going on?
Just letting them walk past. But then you start to see the videos that came out like a couple days after and weeks after, like, these niggas were going to kill people. We're going to kill political figures. And literally anyone who watches Handmaid's Tale, like, if you, spoiler alert, if you haven't watched the show that's been out for 87,000 million years, but that's essentially how that authoritarian, right, conservative organization came to power. Yeah. They literally just stormed in like a political, I forget what kind of political event happened. The people who were a part of that right group just decided they were going to kill everyone who was in power, and that's how they came into power. That's literally what could have happened. On the day that they, you know,
6th, January 6th,
January
2021.
So I'm like, girl, this is some real life shit. So I can't. How do we work with them?
We shouldn't.
Right.
It should not be a situation where you're like, these people tried to stage a coup. They tried to take over the country. Hello, but we're still gonna let them be in power. That's fine. How does that work? And how does Ted Cruz still have a job?
Where's your credibility in terms of weighing in on anything related to policy at that point? Because it's like you kind of operated within a lie, so much so that you incited a riot. So it's like, you have no capacity to say, like, your statistic about the statistic that's like motivating this policy decision is false because X, Y, and Z. You can't say that because you literally operated from a lie and contributed to a riot because you operated from that lie. Like, you have no opinion to me at that point. That's what I'm saying. The Republican Party has lost complete credibility, and they should not have any say. And I mean, I never thought that they had any to begin with, but truly, they don't have any credibility. So they should not have any say in what happens in the country, I feel like, at this point.
Because they're all insane. At this point, they've all lost their minds, and they should be like, what is it that you do for old people who have dementia? Do you put them in a home?
Bitch.
Let's put them all in a home. Like, they need help.
But I just feel like we need to do what we need to do in order to, because what's going to benefit the people at the bottom is going to ultimately benefit them. So at this point, they're so caught up in the indoctrination of this ideology that they can't even see what the benefit is of having more left policies that directly impact their lives. So that's why we need to get more power than they do to then institute those policies that will then still impact them, even though petty me is like, girl, you shouldn't get no fucking student loan forgiveness because you decided to storm the Capitol. However,
I feel the same.
But
you shouldn't get no health care, none of it. You should be in jail, honestly. But then
correct.
Also the people in jail deserve rights. So
that, but also because if it means jeopardizing my ability to have my student loans forgiven, if they use that as a wedge issue to say like, oh, we're not going to give student loan forgiveness because we're going to be giving it to people who stormed the Capitol, bitch, I don't care about that. Forgive my loans.
But even, I mean,
and forgive theirs as well.
It's a giant step for me to get there too, because I want to be petty. I want to be like, you get nothing because you're a fucking idiot. But then also it's like, but you're still human, so like you should at least have basic human rights. And I feel like not drowning in debt is a basic human right. So
and that's, I mean, I'm trying not to make every issue related to politics about student loans, but I'm like, bitch, that's my issue. I'm trying not to be a single issue voter, but like, bitch, that's my issue.
Healthcare is my issue.
Healthcare is your
I
issue?
think regularly, you know how, I don't know if you know, but like I think about regularly how mostly white people will just step out into the street to cross the street without looking, like they have no fear that they're going to get hit by a car. I don't live that life. I fear every day that something's going to happen to me, not because, and like if I get hit by a car, my first thought is not going to be, oh my God, I got hit by a car. It's going to be, I can't afford to get better from this now.
Yeah, that's wild.
So it's like, I don't understand how y'all live. Y'all could just walk into the street and be fine. I don't get it. I don't understand, because I don't have the type of healthcare that allows me to live like that. And I feel like I should. I feel like that should be basic.
Yeah, I feel like that should be basic too.
Maybe not to just step out into the street, but like if I have a fucking heart attack right now, I'm just gonna have to die because I don't have enough money to go to the hospital.
I'm pulling you back from the other side, bitch. I'm gonna have to pull some fucking Constantine shit, bitch, and we're pulling you back. Okay? No, because I will not allow that to happen on my watch.
Follow us on all of our social media pages, especially Fat People Pod on Instagram, because I'm going to start posting on that again, I think maybe. And follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/Taylor Renee. Don't follow me on Instagram because I don't post there anymore.
You're going too fast, bitch. Follow Taylor on Twitch at
twitch.tv/Taylor Renee.
Taylor Renee. Mm-hmm. Do you want to spell that for the people?
It's the same as it's always been, guys. Taylor, RYNAI.
Taylor Renee. And you can follow me at The Black Hermione on Instagram.
The Black.
It's DABLACK. Hermione is HERMIONE.
Mm-hmm. You can follow me on Twitter also at Taylor Renee, spelled exactly the same way. It's actually Taylor Renee on everything. So if you ever want to find me on a social media, it's Taylor Renee.
But thank you for listening. we just were freestyling on this episode, but I'm glad that we're back.
We'll have a little bit more structure for future episodes. We won't fall into so many political holes. Maybe we still might,
right?
But we'll try not to.
I mean, who is it that said the personal is political? I mean, that's it's our lives. It's impacting us.
This is what we're living. I'm nervous that I can't walk outside without having to go to the hospital because I can't afford it. When we were where we were and our friend had to go to the hospital, I was like, I really hope that she has good health insurance, because if this was me, we would be in trouble.
Boy, yeah, she's fine. She's definitely fine. She has good. I mean, but even then, she was like, bitch, we need to have a whole fucking podcast about fucking healthcare, because bitch, what you're saying was truly like a deciding factor on how we were operating on that day. So
because it was like, we can't call an ambulance because that costs too much. We could take an Uber, but where are we taking an Uber to urgent care, to the emergency room? Like, it's a lot. And to be going through all of that when I'm in, she was in not like a life or death situation, but like a life or death type situation.
She was a nurse, and she's a nurse, and she was telling me, we're talking about my best friend. I don't know if I should give her a name because we're talking about her, but she'll know if she listens to this who we're talking about. But she was in a situation where she had an allergic reaction when we were away on vacation, and she was put in a position where we had to make a decision quickly, because when she was saying to me that that's considered like a critical thing. Like,
yeah, because if she was going to go into anaphylactic shock because she was having that type of allergic reaction, she's going to stop breathing. So,
right.
Like, we needed to move quickly.
So I immediately was like, okay, so let's go. We got into lifts and we went to 2 urgent care centers. One of them, the first one that we went to, was like, we can see you, but we don't take insurance. So you have to pay for this out of pocket. So in that moment of like, my
throat is closing.
I could be in a possible anaphylactic shock, bitch. in an instant, you're saying to me, we can treat you, but we don't build insurances. And this was a legitimate organization in 2021.
It's like, I can save your life, but you need to have enough money for me to do it, because we're not going to go through the public healthcare system.
Because black people don't pay.
That's
like,
wild.
Essentially, because that's really what it was giving me. So then we had to figure out, again, we're in a place that this is not our home, so we don't know where things are. So we had to figure out where else we can go to get her the care that she needed. Again, she's having an allergic reaction. We go to another urgent care center. They're advertised on Google to be open until 9. We get there at 8:40, probably like 8:45. Oh, we're closed.
Bitch.
So then it's like, okay, let's just go to the emergency room. She didn't want to go to the emergency room because she didn't want to have to, A, be admitted, and 2, have to deal with the bill associated with going to the emergency room.
And she's a nurse. So I think that what she was saying to me was that she didn't feel like her situation was an emergency room situation yet. So if she could have gotten into an urgent care facility, she would have been fine. But the fact that it had taken y'all so long because you had to go through 2 of them, you had to figure out the lift situation. It was like, the emergency room is our last. And what people don't understand is, as someone who works in the billing and processing of healthcare claims, your insurance company can deny something because they feel like it's not medically necessary. They can deny that. So they could say that, oh, you were having an anaphylactic, or you had an allergic reaction. This could have been handled by going to a primary care or urgency care or urgent care facility. So we're not going to pay this bill because you could have went elsewhere. It didn't warrant you going to the emergency room or going to a hospital. So we're not going to pay this, leaving you with the bill, which could be tens of thousands of dollars. That's so crazy. That's so crazy.
And that's a thing that happens all the time in my job. So it's like, what people need to realize is that, like, when we talk about policy and we talk about like healthcare, like there's real life experiences attached to, like, these are people's lives, bitch. This is not us just arguing in the name of, wanting to stick it to fucking Republicans. No. This is about what's going to materially affect someone.
Right. This is real life. I have to decide whether or not to call an ambulance or take an Uber to the hospital, because one is cheaper than the other.
Girl.
This is real life. I'm having an allergic reaction, and I have to decide while I'm, having an allergic reaction, whether or not I can come out of pocket to pay to get it fixed, or if I should go somewhere else.
Right.
An allergic, her throat was closing.
And I feel like the immediate reaction, the immediate counter argument that we hear from like a more conservative leaning person is, okay, you should have consumed something that would give you that kind of reaction.
Yeah, but with her, she didn't know.
Right. That's the point. Yeah.
And then, I mean, no shade to her, but she consumed the same thing the next day, and that reaction didn't happen. So it's like, we don't even know what it was.
Right.
We still don't know. You to be like, you shouldn't have consumed it. It's like, well, bitch, I can't consume anything.
Yeah, and I mean, if you take that logic to like its kind of, furthest conclusion, it's like don't participate in any activity that potentially could be harmful to you and your health in order to avoid having to interact with the healthcare system so that you don't have a bill. That's literally it. So that means don't leave your house. That means don't stand in front of the microwave for 2 seconds. That means don't put on deodorant. That, like, don't go to the gym. Like,
don't be stressed out.
Right. Like,
meanwhile, y'all are stepping into the street, into traffic, and just expecting to live.
Girl. And that was Fat People with Opinions. How long was this one?
It's an hour and a half.
Bitch. We're back. We're fat.
And we still have fucking opinions.
Bitch.
We'll see y'all next week. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
You should never come.